This is Carl at National RV Detroit. I'm going to walk you through this 2017 Salem, model number 27RKSS. So this is not a floor plan video or a sales video, it's a how-to video. So I'm just going to show you some of the features and how they work. Okay, so right here at the back, the door side rear, we have power tongue jacks. One switch controls both rear jacks. As you can see, whoops, as you can see. And then there's another switch up front that controls both front jacks. Now, if I come over here and look at it from this side, these ones can actually be cranked manually if you need to, so keep that in mind, that you can always get yourself out of trouble. Alright, this is your water heater, of course. This one works on both gas and electric. The thing you have to know is that right here, if you can see it, it's hard to see, but there's a rocker switch right here, on and off. That controls the heating element that's behind this cover here. So keep that in mind that this switch is off, of course, but when you want to turn on the electric heating element, then you have to flip that switch. Now there are other controls inside the trailer. I'll show you those, to like the gas switch, for example, but keep that in mind that that switch is there. Now we've got water in there right now, so this trailer is de-winterized. It means there's no antifreeze in the system. It's all water. The water tank is filled right now. Just keep in mind, never run the water heater when the water heater tank is not filled. Otherwise you'll burn out the element really quick, you'll damage it. So keep in mind that you always want to make sure there's water in it. Okay? Now right while we're here, this is the fresh water tank fill here. The most common way to get water to the trailer is through the city water hookup, which is on the other side. But if you're going to a campground that does not have plumbing on the campsites, you can pre-fill this tank here and use the onboard pump to pump the water. So everything will work as if though you have city water, even though you're pumping it from your tank. Okay, you got a power awning with LED strip. Of course, this is the other switch for the front stabilizers. This is just a hookup for in case you wanted to get a solar panel to charge the battery. It can plug right in there and you can charge the battery using it. It's just an option. Okay, so let me see here. Excuse my camera work, I've only got one hand to work with here. Okay, so this is your hitch. It's a Husky centerline weight distribution hitch with built-in sway control. We'll show you how that operates when you pick up your trailer. We also have some other stuff in here for you. I don't know everything is here, but that's a lock for your hitch. You've got a blue tote, blue-black tote or gray tote, whichever you want to use it for. But it's a waste tank on wheels. Okay, so you have deep cycle marine battery. 2 LP tanks that are full, and then you have this power tongue jack right here. Now let me look over here just for a second to see what we've got in this side before I go on. Wow, all kinds of stuff. Levelers. I'm looking for let me move this around here. I'm looking for the other cranks to see what they've got in here. Oh, it's way over there. Okay, let me go back this way. Okay. So, this crank here, you can actually crank the stabilizers with if you want to. Right? That's got that cylinder with a slot cut in it on the end. On the other side of the trailer, if you notice on each rack of stabilizer jacks, the front and the rear, on the other side there'll be a stud with a shaft through it that can be accepted with that, so you can actually crank it. This one is for the power tongue jack in case it fails, this little silver one. Okay, keep in mind that if it fails, you can unscrew this cap, put that crank on here and crank it manually, so you can always get yourself hitched and unhitched no matter what. It's a good feature. 2 good features. And this trailer also has a power inverter. So I'm looking at it right now. That's why you have the dual battery boxes up front. This basically inverts power. It takes 12 volt DC and inverts it to 110 AC. Then this is probably set right to your refrigerator, but let me look inside real quick before I tell you that, because I didn't really check it out super well when I, yeah. Well, let me send this slide room out here. Okay, here we are right here, slide out. Now the slide room will run off 12 volts, so you don't have to be plugged in as long as your batteries are charged. You just, everything that can run on 12 volts DC in a trailer does. Some things have to be AC power, like the air conditioner or the microwave, for example. But if it can run on DC power, it does. Okay, that was the door squeaking shut, so that wasn't, that was not the slide room doing that. Okay. So yeah, so this is just a regular 110 AC, I believe. I'm unscrewing the lock here. Keeps the doors from flying open when you're traveling, getting dented. Then I will look here just to see what we've got here. Whoops! Holy cow, that was not in all the way. Okay, there we go. Let me get up real close here, hold on. Okay, so yeah, so this one is a regular 110 AC refrigerator. So the inverter, the batteries send the inverter 12 volts DC. The inverter, which I showed you up front there, inverts the 12 volt DC to 110 AC. Then it sends it up here to keep your refrigerator going. The reason it does that is because when you're traveling down the road, let me pick this up here, when you're traveling down the road, you can keep your refrigerator running so you don't spoil any food, right? Because this one's on AC power. So basically the tow vehicle's alternator will be charging the batteries. The batteries send power to the 12 volt DC to the alternate, or to the inverter. The inverter inverts it to 110 AC and sends it to the refrigerator. Okay, and that's the sequence of operation there. Now this, we're going to go back outside, but this is just the opposite. This is a power converter. It converts 12 volt, or it converts 110 AC to 12 volt DC. So inversion goes from DC to AC, and conversion goes from AC to DC. Okay, we'll talk more about that when we get back around. You may know all this stuff, you know. I don't know if you do or not, but I have to assume you don't, just because not everybody's really familiar with it yet. Although it's been around for a long time. But it's why you have two batteries in here. You have to have, in order to invert power, you need an extra battery for storage. So basically these batteries are wired, so it's still putting out 12 volt DC, it just doubles the storage capacity. So there you go. Okay, so I showed you the way you fill the fresh water tank on the other side. Well, this is the city water fill here. So you just hook the hose up to that, turn it on, and you're all set. You have your dump valves down here. Black valve, gray valve. The black tank is total water and waste. The gray is sink and shower water. Cable and satellite through. This is your pull-out 30 amp cord. And I just want to look back here to see, before I go any further, to see what else we have. Okay, yeah, so that's pretty much it when it comes to the water system. So you have a tank fill on the other side, and then the city water hookup right here. Okay. So, coming back around, you have a backup camera. We'll show you that when you pick up. Now this is a range hood vent. So the range hood, that's above your stove, obviously. It has a fan in it, so if you're going to vent to the outside, you always want to reach up here and pull this baffle loose so it flaps freely like it is. Otherwise it won't vent to the outside. When you're traveling or in storage, you can just snap it shut, right? But don't forget to open it up if you're going to be venting. It's important, otherwise it won't vent to the outside very well. Alrighty, so now let's go inside. Okay. Okay, so I showed you how the inverter. So we come over here, this is the converter. Almost all trailers have this. I mean, I could say all, but we'll just say almost. So when you're plugged in, this is your AC distribution panel, and you have circuit breakers here, and they're all labeled, right? So the things that have to run off AC power are hooked to this side. Then the power is converted to 12 volt DC on this side. You see you got 12 volt fuses and they're all labeled. So that's where the 12 volt comes from. Now, this is also a battery tender, so it's going to check how much energy your batteries need, and as long as you're plugged in, it's always going to keep them charged. So when you're plugged in, this power converter charges your batteries. When you're pulling it down the road, your tow vehicle's alternator charges the batteries. Okay? Now, if you ever have a wild lightning strike or a power surge and the 12 volt side goes out, always check these 240s right here. Those are the master fuses. Always check there. 9 times out of 10, that's where the problem's going to be. It rarely happens, but if it does, that's the place you look. Okay. Back over here is a carbon monoxide LP gas detector. It should always be green like it is. If not, you get it serviced. If it goes off, you take everybody outside, obviously leave the door open, shut the gas off, figure out what's going on. TV works like any other TV. This is your sound here. It plays discs. And you have 3 speaker zones. A is this room, B is probably the bedroom, C is outside. You have AM, FM radio. Let me see what else we have here. They're showing a phone, so I bet it does have Bluetooth. This is a 2017, so I'm sure it does. I would think this is a Bluetooth switch, but I can't tell you 100% that it does, because normally there's an obvious button. The way you would check is push this, or actually just go through the modes. I'm sure it does, though. I'm reasonably sure it does. Your couch, Jackknife's flat, you can turn it into a bed. Your table, you can drop the top down and fill in the space with the backs, and you got another bed here. Your refrigerator works on AC, 110 AC like we discussed. Okay, I'm going to put this back in here just so we don't forget when you pick up. I don't want it to get damaged. If the doors fling open. Okay, that's good. Okay, so this is your range. I'll talk you through it. The gas is not turned on now at this point. So I look at your oven. The oven's never been used, which is typical. We see that a lot. Your range top is, the range has hardly ever been used. As I look at this trailer, I see a lightly used trailer. It's all solid. There's no soft spots. I know you already purchased a trailer. I'm just letting you know that this is a solid trailer. You can tell when you walk in a lot of times if it has a moldy or a musty smell. This has nothing. It smells just like it should. So, okay. You got 3 burners and 3 knobs, and you spark it. Like I said, the gas is off right there. So you turn this clockwise to spark it. The oven is the same thing, except for I think you have to use a grill lighter. Let me see. Yeah, so you have to use a long-necked grill lighter. You go to the oven knob here, go to pilot, then depress it. With your other hand, you'll light the pilot light, which is all the way back on the bottom there. You can see it back there. Like that, after the flame lights, you hold it for another 10 seconds to go to operating temperature. Now when you shut it off, the flame goes out, but so does the pilot light, so you have to relight it each time you use the oven. Alright, fan and light. Remember what I told you about the baffle on the outside to open it up if you're venting. Microwave works like any other microwave. Your keys are hanging right here. Okay, this is part of your backup camera system. This piece will go inside your trailer, and this is your Bluetooth brake controller here. Okay. All right, so let's move on a little bit. Your TV antenna is here. You crank it up and down, or you can do this and rotate it. But just remember, if you crank it up, to crank it down before you pull out of the campground. When everybody's pointing at you, they're not saying goodbye. They're telling you that your antenna's still up. Okay, so the sink and shower work like any other sink and shower. This is a GFCI here, for example. All the plugs in the trailer are wired through a GFCI. There's probably 2 in this trailer, but I can't tell you for sure. I didn't see the other one yet. But either way, you check them and reset them just like you would at home. Even the plug outside is run through the GFCI for safety reasons. Boy, this trailer's like new. The flush pedal is right here. If you haven't owned trailers before, the main rule is you have to have chemical and water in it. So after you hook up your power and your water at the campground, you come in here, you dump 1 dose of chemical in the bowl, then you step on the pedal, water comes swirling out and goes into the black tank. The black tank is directly below. You stand on that pedal long enough to put at least a gallon of water in the tank. Some people use more, it's up to you, but the bottom line is you can't use it dry. If you do, the smell will be overwhelming, and it can also get clogged up. So Always make sure you've got a dose of chemical and at least a gallon of water in the black tank before you start. That's one of those things, if you forget that, you only forget it once, believe me. This is the thermostat. It's very simple. You hit the mode button to light up, and then you just go through the 3 modes. Fan, which is the air conditioner running without the compressor. Cool, which is the air conditioner. And then heat, which is the LP furnace. If they give you an option with fan speed, always go for auto. It's the best way to go. This is your control panel. I showed you this was the switch for your slide out. This one here is for your power awning. Never leave the power awning out unattended. To turn your water pump on, remember I told you you could pump water out of the fresh water tank? That's what that does. This is also used to winterize the trailer. Your water heater on gas right there. If you remember, I showed you there was a switch outside in the lower left-hand corner that controlled the electric heating element, so don't forget about that. You got lights, and then your tank levels. Batteries charged, fresh water's empty, so on and so forth, okay? It goes up in 1/3 increments as it creases, so, okay? That's that. That's pretty much the same on every trailer. And then the last, we have the bedroom, which is all we're going to have here is an escape window here. Okay. You've got a TV hook up here with a backer plate, so you can put a swing out bracket up there if you wanted to watch TV. There's some storage underneath the bed and a clothes chute or hamper or whatever you want to call it. So you have that. And there's also a smoke detector, of course. You always want to make sure the battery's good in your smoke detector. The other detector, like I said, is carbon monoxide and LP gas. Looks like you got surround sound, I would think. If not, you just have the speakers. I can't tell you for sure, but either way, you got 4 speakers in this room alone, so I'm sure it sounds pretty good. Okay, this right here, this is a remote where you can run some of your stuff. Will come off of there. Run some of your features from that. Okay. Okay, so thank you for purchasing your trailer here at National RV Detroit. Please remember you want to go up on the roof. The manufacturers always say every 90 days, but you need to go up on the roof and inspect the roof to make sure there's no damage to it. No cracking or separation where water can get in. No damage to any roof attachments or materials by low branches or road debris flying up there. You're just giving it a quick look over to protect your investment, so that's important to do. Also, right now this trailer is summerized. There's no antifreeze in the system. It's all water, and the water tank is full right now. Like I said, always remember that to make sure there's water in the tank before you run it, okay? Thank you very much.